So it's kind of a nice spring day here, and I thought I'd make a quick video that I'll add to what I call tongue-in-cheek fashion, my Rivoche Art Archive series. And really it's about just various pieces of art I did over the years. And these are 3 pieces from early on. I'll go through them one by one. Actually, I don't remember what this was for, but I think it was for an advertisement, and I don't have the copy, but it was to do with volunteers. I remember it was called that, volunteering. So I don't know more, but it was just a black and white piece of art done paste up fashion and kind of comic book style. And I don't know if color was ever added to it. And I know it probably sounds odd if I can't remember, but it was probably very early 80s. And you're working illustrator, you do a ton of these things. And I have a massive folder full of all this stuff in my storage unit. So I've been pulling stuff out and going through it. And like I said, this is kind of pasted up. I've got plastic on top of it, but that's not actually functional other than to just protect it a bit. But I did some cutting out here because I guess I messed up the earlier version and did a paste up on top of it. So it's very graphic style. So that's number 1. And I don't have that much of a story obviously on that one, but this one's kind of cool. What it was for Elric, the Michael Moorcock series, and it was being turned into a comic book series, which I think ended up being drawn by P. Craig Russell. And there was some kind of competition or submission process, I think connected to Mike Friedrich, for people who know comics. So I was asked to submit something, so this is what I came up with. And it's a painting done in sepia ink. There's the hero at the top, Elric, with his sword, Stormbringer. Here he is here. So it's sepia ink, and then I laid in washes on top with other colored inks and a bit of acrylic paint. And just kind of had at it. I remember that I didn't have much of an idea how to really go about this kind of thing. So I ended up coming up with this painting. I think that must be a villain. But I did read the book, and I think I tried my best to, be faithful to the tone and intent of the character. Probably would have been better served to do a comic book style drawing, but who knows? For whatever reason, I chose to do that. And like I said, I was beginning my career. I probably didn't really even understand that clearly and had no examples of what to submit. I mean, I actually like this, but still, I don't always like things, like all of us picky artists. I don't necessarily like everything I've done, but this one I'm kind of fond of. It's faded out a bit. I think the sepia was a bit denser in the beginning, but it's not doing too bad after all these years. Cover sheet is all yellowed. Crescent illustration board. So it's funny looking back at all these old originals, because pre-digital, you're always working with this kind of stuff, spending a lot of money buying art supplies. Oops. And inks, paints, brushes, everything. And now, of course, with digital, it's a different flow. So it's not like people don't do things with traditional paint anymore, of course, but some people have mixed workflows. I still do that. But this one, see if it's marked on the back. Well, that was the studio I had back then. But as far as I recall, this was a poster done for the Super 8 Film Festival in 1979. And this is what's called a ruby lith overlay. See if I can get it to show up. So what that was, I think, was for the poster, which I don't have an example of here. because there was all kinds of type added in down here, which I had allotted room for. But this was some kind of two-color effect. I think that there was a second color printed outside of this orange area. It was never orange. That's just the color of the masking film that's on this sheet. But this is the actual painting. Oops. And registration marks for the printing. And it was a painting done in acrylic paint and airbrushed black pelican ink, I think, with white acrylic on top. So it's gotten a bit scratched, as you can see, over the years of lying forgotten in storage and being moved. But I studied photos of Super 8 film cameras and turned them into spaceships. That was my concept, and they're all heading towards Earth. Remember, this was the Star Wars era, so everything was very Star Wars influenced. Got all the nebulas there and nebulas, whatever. I was very Chris Foss influenced and airbrushing the hell out of it. Stars were done with a paintbrush and just tapping it with a ruler from a height, and they'd all sprinkle down. Of course, you have to make sure you got the right amount of paint, excuse me, and the right amount of tapping. Otherwise, you get a giant mess. But with a bit of practice, you have this arsenal of these kind of techniques. So let's see if I can zoom in here on the zoom. So, yeah, the technique was like cutting friskets with airbrush matting material, frisket, and spraying the background. The bluish color comes from spraying white acrylic over the black. You get a bluish tinge. And the browner look is just where, not brown, but sort of gray, is where I just used straight black ink sprayed over the illustration board. You get the blue when you put white over, like I said. So I was trying to get all the lighting effects nice, the glows, all the stuff you'd have a great time doing in Photoshop nowadays, but it was just brush and airbrush. Like some of the glows around here are brushwork. And trying to draw it as carefully as I could to give it that feeling of conviction. And these are marks. I think the printer probably added those. Sometimes I did. I had big rolls of these registration marks. You could just cut them out and tape them on. Sticky tape. Those are notes from the printer, I guess, about reduction. Anyway, that's a kind of quick peek at 3 originals from back in the so-called day and the life of a working illustrator, young illustrator at that point. And I hope that was interesting, and I'm going to probably do more of these. All right, thanks for watching, and please, the usual, like, share, subscribe, comment, ask me a question, and I'll try my best to answer. Thank you very much.